Okay, Mark, when you do youth work,
Hmm.
what solution did you give to them? If they any face any problems, what solution you give to them?
It depends, obviously, on an individual case, as to what we can do. I mean, for example, I remember sort of working with some young people with a football project, and quite a number of those young people that I was working with were coming from sort of places where there had been war. So quite clearly they had faced very traumatic sort of situations. So a lot of it was as about providing something safe for them to do. So doing football activities was clearly an important thing. So as part of that, and as part of that project, it was about them being able to, in time, take responsibility. Whether that be taking responsibility for them being on time for their training, or whether they're in the longer term them being able to actually help out with the kit. And washing the kit or carrying the kit or whatever it was, as much as what they did on the football pitch. And so, again, in the context of one-to-one relationships with them, it was, being able to build up, trust with them. So I think Ishak shared a very good example there about long-termism and about seeing the fruit of your work.
Yeah.
It can be something very, very small that is actually progress. So I think in terms of sometimes when, we've been doing sort of like reading with a young person, where we've been a reading mentor, for example, and I've been involved in a project like that, it was about, them actually wanting to read anything. So it could be about, well, what is it they're interested in? Are they interested in sort of cars? Are they interested in football? Are they interested in boxing? Whatever is their interest. Okay, is there some way in which we can kind of like look at kind of like media that relates to that? And I think the challenge was to get them to take an interest and to say, actually, well, you know what, you do need to be able to read. And you are probably reading already.
Yeah.
It's just that, perhaps your vocabulary is not as wide as it could be. So again, it's really knowing what it is to get them to focus on.
Exactly.
So I really see it as being, well, it doesn't matter whether it's a big success. A big success like becoming a teacher is fantastic. But I know that the steps that Ishak made with that young person was about, there were baby steps to be taken. Along the way, and I think you probably could think about lots of things that actually happened in the course of, because they wouldn't just become a teacher, would they?
No, well.
In terms of youth working, as a youth worker, have you got any help from the local council or local community? So you are getting any help from them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a project we were running until very recently was a youth intervention project. So we have received funding from different sources for those projects.
Yeah.
So we work with for example, we work with young people around sports leadership. We worked with young people perhaps who were self-harming. We worked with young people that were struggling with reading. We were doing one-to-one mentoring. And so for each of those areas of work, we were able to kind of like get some support. It was hard sometimes to get financial support, but we've been able to be quite creative. One of the projects that myself and Ishak got to know each other around was the Feast, which is a youth project now, which works in Tower Hamlets, but also works further afield in the UK, which is about bringing Muslim and Christian young people together to explore faith together and to be able to do youth projects together. And we've been blessed by the fact that we've been able to, for example, be invited along to iftar meals, to share with a boxing club in Poplar, for example. So there are, and as you go on, you find that there are people that will be willing to, to fund that piece of work. That is a challenge, I think, increasingly in our society, about finding money and finding donors. And I think we're always going to be looking for support around that. But
we are ending of this segment, so I can give you another 1 minute. You can just finish on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
You're the senior, sir. 1 minute for you, sir.
This segment.
So of course.
Within 1 minute, you can tell to our viewers how they can involve with you and the youth.
Absolutely. So I mean, certainly I would like to talk and commend the work of the Feast, which is a small charity which is supporting young people together from different faiths to come together to share in what we call faith encounters. It's an opportunity for them to get to know people from other faiths, from other cultural backgrounds. And that what we would like to do is to be able to have opportunities where more of these encounters happen. where that Muslim and Christian young people and adults can get to know one another better.
Thank you. So thank you very much to be